Hi, I'm Casey. I teach sixth grade writing. So the lesson that I'm going to talk about is with persuasive writing. We're actually in the middle of our persuasive unit, and we kind of decided to create more of a project-based learning method for this specific unit. I kind of wanted to relate back to what it actually says in the book. On page 75, it kind of talks about making big ideas big in the mind of the actual learner, and we were really thinking that was important for this because we didn't want them to just write another essay. So we kind of came up with this Shark Tank project based on the actual show Shark Tank. And so the teak that is overall is students write persuasive text to influence the attitude or actions of a specific audience on specific issues. And the lesson specific one was critiquing persuasive techniques used in media messages. So the established goal was learners will analyze and critique persuasive techniques used in media messages in order to understand how specific strategies can affect various audiences. And it was going to be measured through written communication, answering on a chart, and some different questions. Overall, our essential question for this project was, how can I help improve the lives of sixth graders? And then specifically on this lesson, it was, why do specific techniques influence various audiences? So our desired understandings where students will understand how different persuasive techniques create different reactions. Students will explain how persuasive techniques can be used in various formats, and students will understand why different audiences are impacted by various techniques. We really wanted students to be able to understand that persuasive techniques are used in like a bazillion different formats, and they can influence audiences in totally different ways, kind of depending on who your audience is. So in this lesson, we actually had set up on our Google Classrooms different commercials for them to look at and kind of analyze and critique and inspect and figure out how it made them feel, figure out how it made other people in the classroom feel, and just understand how some of those commercials affected some of them, and then they didn't have any kind of effect on others in the classroom. Our students will be able to apply appropriate persuasive techniques to influence and convince their audience to invest in the project or proposal that they have created. So in this whole project, they're kind of like the show Shark Tank. They're basically creating a proposal and a marketing plan and an advertisement, and then presenting it all to some outside guests that we have coming in at the end of this unit so that they can really understand actually using persuasive techniques, not just in writing, but in everything that they have to present. So instead of doing like a typical 5-paragraph essay, we were having them create, the proposal, like what is it that you're wanting to change, their marketing plan that involves various techniques and writing skills, as well as, having that creativity. They're creating their own advertisement, and they kind of get the option of what kind of advertisement they want to create. And then, of course, their actual presentation, which involves speaking and listening. And so all of these things are involving the different techniques that they're having to learn. And of course, they have to be familiar with, they have to have that prior knowledge of the actual persuasive techniques, the different forms of media, knowing what they're actually influenced by and what their peers are influenced by, as well as their audience, how they react to various techniques and how their peers react as well. And then what techniques and forms of advertisement that they are affected by the most, because with the sixth graders in their generation, it's mostly digital, and so they have to be able to recognize that that's where their advertising and their argument needs to lie in. And important for them to know and do is identify the persuasive techniques, recognize the audiences and the reactions, identify the various forms of media, and explain the messages in media. Overall, this has been a super fun project for them to be working on, and they're definitely more invested in this than they would have been writing a 5-paragraph essay. Yeah, thanks.